Welcome to Walking Shoulder to Shoulder Step 12 meeting. It is with much warmth and love that I introduce Mike D, who will be speaking for 30 minutes on our 12th step, which reads, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. This will be followed by a question and answer session. It's over to you, please, Mike.
Good morning, afternoon, evening to all. I'm a recovered heroin addict. My name is Mike D. Sobriety date, March 9th, 1987. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. It's a bunch of y'all on here, man. I invited the Mad Dogs workshop, which was preceding this, to come hang out. Neil, good to see you, man. All relaxed and everything. Coming your way in a minute. Good to be here. Good to be here. Thank you for the invite. This subject is something very near and dear to my heart. And some of you know me. I speak my mind and don't care whether you like it or not. It's meant to hurt your feelings, and sometimes it's not meant to hurt your feelings. I'm just me. Before I do anything, I consult God and I ask for His direction and His guidance, and I've learned over the years, that's why I'm still here, that He'll do exactly that. And my belief is that the rooms of Cocaine Anonymous and the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous were created for the real alcoholic and the real addict. That literally is the last house on the block for them. Now, we got a bunch of other people that hang out with us, and our textbook tells us there's the moderate drinker, the moderate user, hard alcoholic, hard user. But then the language that's used in the big book, which is our textbook, is very specifically geared for the guy that can stop but can't stay stopped. And those individuals usually take a journey that lasts for multiple years. Some of you guys have been blessed to get here early in your drinking or your using, but a number of us, we don't get here until very late in our journey with drugs or alcohol because of the resistance that we have to the idea that I am alcoholic and I'm addict, meaning I have an allergy of the body and I have an obsession of the mind and I have a spirit that's maladjusted, separated from God, and is unmanageable on my own power. And for years, even before I started to use anything, my life was a wreck. And when I say my life, my inner condition with living life. And something had to happen. So for a lot of us, what happened was that we found some mind-altering something. Don't necessarily have to be drugs and alcohol. Can be sex, can be gambling, can be overeating, can be undereating. I could go on and on and on. There's a number of fellowships now that have sprung up as a result of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous in relations to having a problem with something. They think They think they have a problem with something, when in actuality, they don't have a problem with something. They have a problem with themselves, and they're in the dark. The textbook, our textbook, is very explicit in certain areas as to what the problem is and where it comes from. I am so grateful, man. I am so grateful. In that last attempt to manage and control my life, God stepped in again. Because he had stepped in on a number of occasions and gave me solutions, but I didn't listen. I didn't take the advice and the direction. And I continued to live in my own suffering, perpetuated by me. Clarity. I need to be clear being here in the nut house. This is the nut house. I need to be clear why I'm a nut and what's wrong with me still on a certain level. If you've gotten to a place where you think you're perfect and you've got it all, something's wrong. You might not be in the club. You just may not have the answer that you think you have because you think you have answers. I have no answers today. Anytime I need something answered or I need direction and guidance, I go to the power because I've become thoroughly convinced on a certain level that I can't fix it. That comes as a result of multiple surrenders, multiple levels of humility, which is not of my own making. I did not come from a society that said surrender. In Harlem, New York, you did not surrender, you fought. I grew up fighting physically and mentally. Something's happened for me. And hopefully something will happen for you as a result of what we do in the nucleus of these rooms, the center of the fellowships that use the process of recovery, that you've come to a place to be willing to avail yourself to. And give yourself away and let God work with you. The idea that I was all that in a bag of chips had to be smashed. I realized a very long time ago I was a crumb snatcher. I didn't want really what life had to offer. Just give me a couple of crumbs. Those crumbs were, let me make a bunch of money. So I started hustling at the age of 11, shining shoes by the subway on Saturday mornings for 25 cents. And then moving from shining shoes to being a busboy in the supermarket, bagging groceries. Thinking that the idea of financial sufficiency would save me and make me. And I carried that idea practically all through my life until I got to those first 164 pages in the big book and immersed myself in the work and was moved to a level of wanting to and allowing God to use me and work through me. This is who I believe the rooms are created for. It's a Mike D thing. If you don't like it, too bad. It's not for the poopy. It's for the guy that this is the last house on the block. He's dying. She's dying. She's of the hopeless variety. She's not all that in a bag of chips, and she thinks she is. Or he thinks he is. And he's got answers. I spoke at a meeting one night. I can't remember if I spoke or I was attending, and the gentleman that was speaking, he said something about I know something, and it just flipped my gut. This is not about knowingness. The big book tells us intellect and knowledge will not keep you clean. So if you're living in a realm like that, you might not be a real one. And you might not be in the place of where the third step says you need to be. Thoroughly convinced that anyone's life run on self-will can hardly be a success. I gotta give me up. I gotta give me up. And the message that I carry must be related in a way to let individuals know that somewhere along the line they must give themselves up also. Your life is no longer your own. When I made that third step decision, the first time and the last time, I made an acknowledgement to God. Here, have me, take me, man. Do with me as thy wilt. Now somebody's gut done flipped already. Because you got a problem with letting go of who it is you believe you are. And you have a facade and a manner about you that very slowly and in an unconscious manner, it's killing you. And on a certain level, you know it, but you can't let it go. Because who will you be? What will become of my life if I truly surrender to God? If I truly surrender to what our manuscript talks to us about being a recovered person, who would I be? Where would I go? So you struggle with what we really do here on a daily basis. Page 92 in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, in the chapter Working with Others, which is dedicated to step 12, it says, if you are satisfied that he is or she is a real alcoholic or a real addict, begin to dwell on the hopeless future of the malady, spiritual malady. The book says dwell on it. For me, that means hammer it home. The spiritual malady is the root of what I suffer from. Page 18, first paragraph, talks about it. Page 52, middle paragraph, talks about it. And at the end of page 151, talks about it. 18 talks about the addict and the alcoholic that life that touches anybody else's life creates havoc, chaos, and confusion. Page 52, middle paragraph, gives us the 9 bedevilments. I'm having trouble with personal relationships. I can't control my emotional nature. I am prey to misery and depression. I'm full of fear. I can't make a living. I am unhappy. I can't seem to be of use to other people. Page 151 talks about those horsemen. And I would think horsemen means somebody riding a horse, going somewhere, making ground. Says the hideous 4 horsemen, terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair are those alive in your life today. With maybe a couple days, a couple months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. How about 38 years, Mike? You still got some of that stuff going on a certain level? Why, yes. That's why I still do the work, or I let the work do me. That's why I still meet with my sponsor consciously at least once a week. It's an appointment and an assignment. I need to be transparent, open, and vulnerable with somebody. In my case, there's somebodies that can see me when I can't see me. Real addict. Real addict, not poopy. For 20-something years, I chased heroin with a vengeance, believing it could fix me. And it did for a while, very short while. I met heroin at the age of 16 as a result of a fluke. Tenements of Harlem, New York, snowflakes falling as big as my fist. In the dead of winter on Christmas Eve night, my hustling buddy, my dope selling partner said to me, after I said to him, we don't have no more cocaine, because we had been sniffing cocaine, high life, rolling, making money. Ran out of cocaine, and I said, man, Alan, we don't have no more girl, man. That's what we call cocaine back in the day. We don't have no more girl. He said, oh, that ain't no problem. He said, we can take a one-on-one of this boy. That was heroin back in the day. I said, take a one-on-one of heroin. He said, yeah, I've been sniffing for a while. Now, mind you, the big book and the language and the stories in the big book will play out for you. I had numerous ominous warnings in my dope selling days. You selling it, you better not mess with it. Look at me. You're going to end up with me if you ever start using the product that you're selling. And of course I said to them, what happened to me ain't going to happen to you. What happened to you ain't going to happen to me. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to come up. I'm going to be a somebody. And on that snowy Christmas Eve night, flakes falling in the streets of New York as big as my fists, I took my first one-on-one of heroin. And my life has never been the same since. So there's a magic that happens here. And I don't know if you've had the magic happen to you, or you've had a taste of the magic, or you've experienced the magic by working with others. But there's a magic that happens here for an individual that's called the real alcoholic and the real addict. Those that make it to us, this is their last stop in desperation. There must be someone that's telling the truth, unfiltered. The rest of that paragraph says, show him from your own experience how the queer mental condition surrounding that first drink prevents normal functioning of the willpower. The first one. That first 1-on-1 of heroin changed my life, man. I'll never forget it. Why? Because I need to remember it. I need to remember it. I need to remember the effect produced by it. The euphoria that rose up in me and got me to say to Alan, with snowflakes falling as big as my fist, come on, let's go outside, man. And I got so high, we got so high, that we started diddy bopping and doo-wopping in the middle of the street with no coat on, freezing temperatures. Somebody know what diddy bopping is and doo-wopping. Somebody know what doo-wop is too. If you're a youngster, look it up. I was in heaven. Heron took me to heaven. And it created a sensation in my life that was magical. I had never felt like that before. For somebody on this meeting tonight, cocaine did that for you. Alcohol has done that for you. Methamphetamine, pills, sex, making money, get whatever. It's done that for you. You're in a different club. You're not in the normality club. You're in the abnormal club. Something has got to happen once you get here. And there's got to be somebody that's willing to tell you the truth no matter what. Whether you like me or not, I'm not concerned with that today. I'm concerned with the fact of somebody's living in a delusion on this meeting of 70 people. I've been doing this too long. Somebody is taking the script that's been handed down to them in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and the rooms of Cocaine Anonymous and transformed it into what they think they know. And it's killing them. Something's got to happen. And someone should be fortified and strengthened by the foundation that they stand on to tell you something's got to happen. You're suffering. You're suffering as a result of your own creations. Don't at this stage refer to this book unless he has seen it and wishes to discuss it. I would imagine a bunch of y'all on here, y'all know what the big book is. Some of y'all have been through the work. Some of y'all have done the work. And some of you have allowed the work to do you. And you stand in need of a new transformation, a new being moved to another level. And you're in resistance to that. Spirit has already spoke to you to say that something else better happen here, man. I don't feel what they're talking about. And I'm talking about those of us that carry a message that's about depth and weight. We ain't just talking about the dog got fleas and the cat won't bark and she left me this morning and he treats me so bad. I'm so fucked up. That's a byproduct. The solution needs to be carried in meetings. And my deal, God, I sound so arrogant. My deal is that it ain't talked about enough. People don't talk about the spiritual way of living life and God enough, and they dance around the subject because they don't want to hurt people's feelings and, oh, they're new and we might run them away. Well, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. Somebody's dying. Somebody's asleep and they need to wake up. Be careful not to brand him as an alcoholic or an addict. Let him draw his own conclusion. They tried to tell me something was wrong with me when I was a young teenager. My family sent me to a psychiatrist down on Sutton Place in Manhattan because they had an inkling something was wrong with me. And I sat in that office with that gentleman, and he tried to, in every way he could, get me to admit that something was wrong with me. And literally what I said to him, ain't nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. Same thing when the counselor in that one of the first detoxes I went in before I left Harlem and came to LA for the first time to a program called Synanon, my first treatment program. Sat in his office and he said, something's wrong with you. And I was in there to kick a heroin habit and detox, and had called my family, and my father and my brother came in and sat with me in a session, and the counselor said, there's something wrong with him. Talking to my father, there's something wrong with him, Mr. Dolphin. He's abnormal. He's created a situation in his life that he can't handle. He needs to go into a program. And again, I looked at the counselor and said, ain't nothing wrong with me. By the age of 19, my grandmother used to call them hoodlums and jitterbugs. Ain't nothing wrong with me. My hoodlumism and being a jiggerbug and wanting to live street life, concrete and pavement, had become my way of life. I was born, bred, and raised in it. See, drinking and using is not only the physical drinking and using, it becomes a lifestyle. And you get comfortable in it. No matter what level you pursue it on, your drinking and your using, it becomes comfortable. And you live there. Even when the consequences are adverse, you'll live there because 9 times out of 10, you know the results that are going to come about as a result of the consequences of you doing something. I guess that little beat means my time is up, just about. Let me finish reading this paragraph. It says, let him draw his own conclusion. If he sticks to the idea that he can still control his drinking or his using, tell him that possibly he can. If he is not too alcoholic or too addict, you got to get finished. And you need to let him go and get finished. That also means for people that are in the rooms that take a stab at doing the work and they get to a point where they don't want to write inventory or they don't want to finish amends, tell them fine. Don't do it. You can talk with them, because anywhere in the 12-step process that you're having trouble, it goes all the way back to step 1, where you don't feel like you're powerless anymore. And you have the ability now to manage and control your life. So what we do, because this is what we do in the nucleus of recovery, we work the 12 steps, or we let the 12 steps work us, and we complete 1 through 12. Fine. Don't finish your amends. But there's a spiritual price you're going to have to pay. Don't complete inventory. Oh, it hurts too much and it's bringing up too much stuff and I can't write. Well, I bet you went to any lengths for your drinking and your using. No holds barred. Some of y'all are mad dogs on here, just like me. Some of y'all, not all of y'all, some of y'all, mad dog in your drinking and your using. You went to any length. But insist that if he is severely afflicted, there may be little chance he can recover by himself. I didn't say it. The book says it. Severely afflicted. Don't blame me. The way I'm bringing this message this afternoon and this evening, don't blame me. I pray and I ask God to guide and direct me and step in and let him show up and not let me show up. And I'm a firm believer that he does exactly that. This message is from God, not from me. He wants somebody on this meeting to know that you fucking around. Book already told you half measures avail you nothing, and you're in half measures. You half measuring it, thinking you're going to get the full benefit of what happens in the nucleus of recovery. Recovery, becoming recovered. How thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. Title page of the big book. What do you want? What are you doing here? Why you half-stepping? Why you a crumb snatcher? Why you don't really want all that God has to offer you? Why don't you want all that God is willing to give you? Why don't you think a spiritual way of living life is better than the way you're living life at this precise moment? And you base that on, right now, you're miserable. Something off of one of those 3 references is plaguing your life right now. I'm in the club. What I'm saying to you is not only what I'm saying to you hopefully applies to some, it applies to me too. I ain't perfect. I'm not all of a sudden that spiritual, that life don't happen for me. Life happens for me too. I'm getting ready to go to a doctor now to see about this heel that don't want to stop hurting. And it's like, where did this come from? Why is this happening? Anyway, I think my time is up. My time is up, right? Somebody talk to me. Gab, is my time up?
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Wonderful.
Okay, so my time is up because he said perfect, Mike. Thank you. That means your time is up, goddammit. Get off the line. Thank you so much for having me. If I hurt somebody's feelings, good. Good. It might shake you up and wake you up. And have you take a look at where you're at in your recovery. What do you want? The primary purpose for what we do is to go out and help others. Are you doing that? Are you properly armed with facts about yourself so you can do that? It's about the work. But primarily it's about the work working you. Don't be a crumb snatcher. Get a slice of cake. No, don't only get a slice of cake. Go for the whole goddamn cake. Take the whole
Mike,
cake.
for sharing with us.
Thank you, too. I'm going to shut up now. Thank you. Thank you. All righty.
You're not out of the hot seat just yet, Mike.
Oh, I'm not.
We're going to open up for a quick question and answer session. Please, could you limit your questions to a minute or so? You can also post a question in the chat or anonymously to the service team. We especially welcome questions from any newcomers. The chat function is now open. Please show your gratitude to Mike by rolling out some love in the chat.
It is the hot seat, too.
Function if you want to ask a question. Who have we got? Simon, if you want to come in.
Yeah, cheers, Gav. Thanks, Gav, for hosting, mate. Thanks for all your service. And thanks for your share, mate. I'll be quick because I know the group might be good. I want to ask questions. So my question is, how far along were you before you think you gained your unshakable foundation, which we strive for by working these steps? And was there anything in particular that you feel you did to acquire that? Thanks.
How long before I believed I had secured a foundation, and was it anything particular that I did?
Yeah.
Step 9. My first set of amends.
Yeah.
Up until that point with my first sponsor, Brother Alton, he mapped out what the 12-step process looked like for me. And when he got to step 9, I said, there's no way. There's individuals I cannot go to and make amends and tell them what I did, the harm that I did. There's no way I'm doing it, man. They're going to kill me or they're going to lock me up. He said, don't worry about it. When you get to step 9, when we get to step 8, we'll see if you're still unwilling to go to those people. By the time I got to step 8, I was willing to go to each and every one of them, and I did in step 9. And one of the instances was I went back to New York on an amends trip. I don't even know if people do amends trips anymore. I went back home to specifically make amends. I went around the block, saw guys I had grew up with, saw guys I shot dope with, I drank alcohol with, I smoked reefer with. They offered me those mind-altering substances, and I said to them, I don't do that anymore. I said, I don't smoke reefer no more, man. I don't drink wine no more. Long story short, I got back to LA and I met with him on our regular visit, and I said, man, I had a hell of an experience. I said, I went back and I made amends, and I went around the block and I was offered all kind of stuff, and I didn't take none. I didn't ingest anything. And I had kind of a little smirk on my face. And he said to me, he looked at me in my eyes and said, I bet you think you had something to do with that. And I knew the process and the work that we do in the process have prevailed in my life. But most of all, I knew God walked with me through each and every one of those amends. Because nobody killed me, nobody locked me up, nothing harmful came to me. That's when my foundation was laid.
Thank you, Mike.
Right.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Mike. Jax, if you want to come in.
Hi everybody, Jax Addict. Thank you very much for the meeting. Thanks everybody for making this meeting possible. Mike, thank you very much for your share, mate. It was fantastic. I have a question for you, mate. We all have our own personal rock bottoms. What was the moment you realised that you was completely powerless and you had to make a change? What was that like, and what did it feel like?
Not until I went into my last treatment program in 1987. And I had never heard of AA or CA or NA. I had never heard of a process of recovery. I had never heard of getting a sponsor. I had never heard that you can not shoot dope again. I had never heard that. And as I sat in that treatment program for 14 months, they brought panels in from those 3 fellowships. And the panels that they brought in carried a message that I had never heard before. And I began to believe that something could be different in my life, that I was not going to die a dope fiend. Because that was my belief going into that program. I run into that program to beat a case so I wouldn't go back to the penitentiary. And I heard a message that had depth and weight. And it held my attention the same way Heron did. And when I got out of there, when I got kicked out of there at 14 months, I did what I heard them tell me to do on those panels. I went to meetings, I got a sponsor, and I got into the work with that sponsor. That was the last time I ever drank and I ever used when I went into American Recovery Center.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jax. Thank you, Mike. Alaya, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Please come in.
Hi, my name's Aaliyah. I'm an alcoholic. Mike, thank you for your service and everyone who made this meeting possible. My question is, what part of the program did you resist the most, and how did you move past it?
What part of the program did I resist the most? I don't think I've ever resisted any part of the program. Like I stated in the beginning, in my first piece of work coming out of that treatment program, I had honest doubt about God, second step. And then I had honest doubt about whether what was done in the recovery process would work for me. But I had a willingness to believe that maybe if I did what they told me to do, I might not shoot dope again. I didn't know this was about a total recreation of your life. I just wanted not to shoot dope again. But what took that resistance away was, again, my first set of amends and my first piece of work. And from then on, the way I do my recovery today is the way I did my recovery in my first 3 years when I got to you guys. There's been no resistance. And God continues to show me that. He's taken me and He's placed me all over the world, man, where I was stuck in a 4-block radius for I don't know how many years. Couldn't get out. And there's been no resistance because I know it works. This process, this recovery process, and the information that's passed on to us that allows us to get in touch with us on a deep level will recreate your life. And it's continuous. It's ongoing. It don't stop. Hopefully that answered your question. God bless you.
Thank you. Great question. Thank you, Mike, again. Curtis, please, if you want to come in.
Hi, everybody. My name's Curtis. I'm an addict. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Curtis.
As a result of multiple surrenders that you talked about, multiple failures, multiple powerless first step experiences hanging around the rooms in this program, I have come to believe that I am in the club, and I must rely on God, power greater than me, or I must die a multiple deaths. So here's my question, Mike. What's the best defense? I've been through the steps, put together some years now. Took a long time because I was in that resistance. I would not do the steps. I did everything but finally latching on to these steps, and I did make a men's trip. It's worked. So what's my best defense against that pride and ego that keeps wanting to show up and shake that foundation that I must do the work or die?
God. Every time your buddy starts to talk to you, you go to God. Acknowledge his presence. That's only little Curtis, man, wanting to run the show. Little Curtis don't want you free. He's going to continue to attack. He ain't going to stop. And every time he shows up, just say to him, man, you know, you've been my buddy, man. I call my alter ego Mr. on 12th Street. That's where I grew up in New York. And every time he shows up, I just pat him on his little butt and say, man, thank you for showing up and thank you for sustaining me for so many years, but I can't walk with you no more, man.
Man.
I can't walk with you no more. So love him, because that's only a part of you that's reaching out for love, Curtis. That's all. That's a whole nother piece of work. So God, and embracing all of you, not resisting and fighting all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Paula, if you'd like to come in.
Hello everyone, I'm an addict named Paula. Thanks for your service putting on the meeting. Mike, thanks for a great share. My question, what does your spiritual practice on awakening look like, please?
When I get up, I put on spiritual music. I say a prayer, put on spiritual music. Sometime I'll meditate, sometime I won't. But I spend my mornings hanging out with God. I love music. Music is a meditation by itself. If you can get centered in spiritual music. Now, you got to understand, all types of music are spiritual on a certain, well, not all types, but a lot of them are spiritual. And your spirit will attune yourself to that. If you listen this morning for our meditation on Mad Dog Workshop, I put on classical music. Because music speaks to my soul. Other times I put on spiritual, African American spiritual for you guys. So music is an entryway to your spirit and to your soul. So I start my day off like that, and with prayer, thanking God for another day. And then I go about my day.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Lindsay, if you want to come in, and then we'll have the last question after you from Dwayne. So, Lindsay, come in, please.
Thanks, guys. It's not me, it's for Becky. Hiya, I'm Becky. I'm an addict. Thank you for making the meeting possible, and
Mike, thank you so much for your share. I got a lot from it. I'm 2 weeks back from a relapse, and I'm on my step 4, and just a lot of what you said spoke to me really, because I'm self-seeking so much at the moment. I'm in a lot of pain, to be honest, is what I think I want to say, of like, you know, I'm having these moments where like I'm seeing miracles and I'm feeling that knowing of God, but like I'm also in a lot of pain and I'm self-seeking. I can feel that like maladjusted spirit, and my question really is like, how do I keep that faith? You know, I can literally feel myself torn, and when you were talking I was like, oh, I'm looking for the crumbs. So yeah, any advice would be appreciated.
Pray, prayer,
Mm-hmm.
turn to God.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in treatment?
No, I'm not.
So do you go to meetings?
Yes.
In-person meetings?
A mixture.
Okay. Do you have a sponsor?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you in the work?
Yes.
Okay. Go to meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Do the work. Better yet, let the work do you. What you're experiencing is powerlessness in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're experiencing step 1. Each and every step needs to be experienced in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening. You're experiencing your powerlessness, and that you can't keep you and you can't fix you.
Mm-hmm.
So as many times a day as you need to, turn to God. I don't know what prayers your sponsor is having you say, but you use the prayers he's having you or she's having you say, and turn to God anytime you show up, because that's only you showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to tell you, yeah, we can do it again. Let's go. What you doing? What you doing not hanging out with me? You cannot not hang out with me. What's wrong with you? Want you back.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be that way for the rest of your life. So do the work, go to meetings, but most of all, turn to God.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. God bless you.
Wayne, last question, please.
Hi guys, thanks for the meeting, Mike. Thanks for your share. That was amazing stuff. The one thing I did pick up on what you said about was the first time you used heroin, and you know it took you to heaven. You know, and you said the importance of not forgetting that. Now, the first time I ever shot up crystal meth, it took me to the same place, and all I've ever tried to do since then is forget that feeling. What's the difference there? Is it just a step 1 thing that you'd remember that for, or is there something else I'm missing on that? Or that's my question to you.
Something you're missing as far as what?
Well, just as far as like, why do I try to forget that experience, and you say you never forget that experience? Do you know what I mean?
Because you trying to do it. You're trying to bring about the transformation that needs to be brought about by God.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the experience because it solidifies the fact of why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
It also solidifies the fact of what I put in place of God, in front of God, in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it keeps me in remembrance of how I got here. It also helps me to know what fellowship I belong in. It helps me to remember what I have the allergy and the obsession for. I don't hang out in AA because I'm not alcoholic. I don't have an obsession for alcohol, and I don't have an allergy for alcohol. What I found out as a result of the work doing me is that heroin came dressed up as alcohol. Because after I met heroin at the age of 16, I don't care what I did, and I did a lot of stuff, acid, mescaline, quaaludes, all type of stuff. I never stayed with none of that stuff. I had the power to put that down. I had the power to say, no, I don't want no more of that. Or I'm not doing that again. And even if I started with a different chemical, it was only a matter of time before I ended up with heroin. So maybe that's what that experience is for you, is trying to ground your foundation in methamphetamine as being the drug that chooses you. And you need to find like-minded people to hang out with.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks for
Okay.
your time. Cheers.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Mike. Thank you once again, Mike, for your service this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. Thank you to everyone that's attended the meeting, anyone who asked a question, done a reading for us, and to the service team for making this meeting possible. I'd like to remind you that we have a WhatsApp group for sponsorship and support. If you are available to sponsor or looking for a sponsor,